Hi students, I was teaching the Delhi Sultanate and I had completed the slave dynasty. Now I come to the point, the Khaljis and Tughlaqs. The Khaljis and Tughlaq continued to use slave in administrative post. This caused political instability. Therefore, the accession of a new sultan often saw conflict between the old and the new nobilities. The sultan used to appoint military commanders as governor of territories of varying sizes. These lands were called Iqta and their holders were called Iqtadar or Mukti. Now, the Khaljis and the Tughlaqs also relied on the Iqta system of administration, but ensured that the office of the Mukti was not hereditary and they were frequently transferred. The Muktis were also asked to strictly maintain the required number of soldiers. This stopped the Muktis from the building social and political connections and become powerful. These latter sultans took utmost care that the Mukti collected only the prescribed taxes and not more than that. Now, the Khaljis. The ruler of the Khalji dynasties were Jalaluddin Khalji, Alauddin Khalji, and Qutbuddin Mubarak Shah Khalji. Alauddin Khalji made an attempt to systematize and unify land revenue and urban taxes. He instituted a highly centralized system of administration over his realm. Under the early Delhi Sultanate, Islamic land tax Kurds. Now, what is Kurds? Kurds was a land tax that was originally paid only by non-Muslim, whereas Muslim had to pay the usurper, a religious tithes. Eventually, the term Kurds comes to describe any tax paid to the Muslim authorities. Now, this Islamic land tax Kurds had been fixed at 1/6 of the produce. But Alauddin Khalji raised the Kurds to 50% of the produce and introduced direct collection. He had also imposed taxes on cattle and houses. Mongols' attack increased on the Delhi Sultanate during the reign of Alauddin Khalji. This forced him to recruit a very large standing army in Delhi. But this also was a huge administrative and economic challenge for him. He took various measures to meet these challenges. The Sultan could not have given Iqta to all the soldiers and therefore he preferred to give them cash salaries. A control of the market called the Shahi Mandi and intelligence officer known as Baris were appointed to implement the market control measures. Now come Tughlaqs. The important rulers of the Tughlaq dynasty included Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq, Muhammad bin Tughlaq and Firoz Shah Tughlaq. Like Alauddin Khalji, Muhammad bin Tughlaq also raised a large standing army. He led campaign to Kanpur and Peshwa aimed at securing the northwestern frontier of the Sultanate against the future Mongol attacks. Even before Muhammad bin Tughlaq's successor, Firoz Shah Tughlaq could consolidate his rule. The Sultanate of Delhi began to disintegrate largely because of the struggle for power among the nobles. Now, the Sultanate after the Tughlaqs. After the Tughlaqs, the Sayyid dynasty followed by the Lodi dynasty continued to rule from Delhi and Agra until 1526. But control of the Delhi Sultans was only over a small region neighboring Delhi region like Jaunpur, Bengal, Malwa, Gujarat, Rajasthan and the entire South India and independent rulers, they not only established flourishing states but also enjoyed autonomous existence. Here are some experience of Muhammad bin Tughlaq's. Actually, Muhammad bin Tughlaq was the most learned sultan of the Delhi Sultanate. He was a lover of art, scholar of philosophy, mathematics, astronomy, physical sciences, a brilliant calligraphist, and a fairly good poet. But despite his learning, most of his administrative innovations failed. There are some points for that why they failed. First, raising the taxes in Doab. Next, transfer of capital from Delhi to Daulatabad. Next, introduction of the token currency. And last, expedition into Khorasan and Karchil. Okay, thank you.